Well, I remember I was giggling and happy because we were in the ambulance and there was a really tall nurse or EMT that was in the ambulance, and he said that people call him Mr. Tree, and I thought that was very funny as a 7-year-old. And then the same guy, I think trying to make me feel special, said, "Guess what? They're holding the ferry for you." And I immediately thought, oh, that means I'm dying, because they don't hold the ferry for anything, and that can only mean that that this is serious enough that I'm dying. And so that's what I thought when he told me that. Hi, Brady. You're here. Welcome. My mom was in the front of the ambulance, and I really, really wanted her to be in the back, and I thought this would all be better if my mom was just back here with me, but they wouldn't let her ride in the back. She had to be in the front. And I remember really wanting my mom to be back there. Well, we were living on Bainbridge Island, Washington, and I woke up, must have been only a few months after I was diagnosed, if not a few weeks. And I woke up in the middle of the night and was coming downstairs. It must have been to get water, and my room was upstairs, and my parents' room was on the main level of the house. And I came down and was walking toward the kitchen, and their room was behind me, and I remember hearing my mom crying, and so I turned around immediately wanting to go to her, but then just in the moment it took me to walk to the door, I realized what she was saying.
The dress is here. Yay. Yeah, do you want me to switch the hanger? Yeah.
And she was talking to my dad saying, "I wish it was me, I wish it was me." And I knew somehow I knew that she was talking about diabetes, so I didn't go in the room, and I don't even know if they know that I heard that. We never talked about it. I don't think I could live with it if I had been diagnosed as an adult. It's such a huge part of your life, and to not be used to it from that young, I can't imagine, it's like imagining not having diabetes anymore. It's almost unfathomable to me. So I don't remember not having it. It's always been a part of my life, and I'm thankful for that, because I think it would be so much more difficult to know yourself and then have that much of a change. I would never wish it on anybody else. I'm glad that I've had it since I was young, but I work at a diabetes camp. I volunteer at a camp for diabetic children every summer, and it's always painful to see them struggling, and to hear kids, especially recently diagnosed kids, to ask, why me? Why did it happen to me? What did I do? It's even harder to hear them say, I think there'll be a cure in a year. I think there'll be a cure in 2 years, because there won't be. And it's hard to hear them holding on to that hope, and when I know they'll be disappointed.
Is that like, yeah. All right, what's the closest, do my boob? Closest fat I can get.
There was a girl named Jonna at camp where she was, so every time that she had to have an injection at every meal, she would just fight it. She would be so upset and crying, but she was almost nonverbal. Her psych issues were to the point where she was very difficult to communicate with. And so the doctors it would just be a fight, almost to the point where they had to hold her down at meals to give this injection. And I finally remember the doctor, who was great, who I work with every year, Rebecca, saying, "Do you know why you're getting this injection?" And she said, "No, I don't." She didn't know why. And she just, either from her home life or her psych issues, didn't understand why she had to inject herself 5, 7, 10 times a day. She didn't understand why. It was just happening to her. And you could tell her feeling that out of control was just beyond her limit, and that was hard to see. It's constant. I don't stop thinking about it. It's not a number of times, because it's a constant stream of thought. Every time that I see a high blood sugar on my meter, what I imagine is months coming off my life. I mean, the reason that I do it and that I keep myself in such tight control is because I want the same lab work and the same numbers as someone who doesn't have diabetes, because I refuse to have a life that ends early because of diabetes. I don't want to die younger than I have to. It's really important to me. So in the diabetes community, there's the 10-year joke that anytime anyone is diagnosed with diabetes, no matter what year it was, no matter how old you are, everyone, for whatever reason, has always been told by some healthcare provider that the cure is coming in 10 years. It's not even like I'm not letting myself hope for a cure, or it's not like it's this hope that I'm repressing. It's just, I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like, I'm also never gonna become the Queen of England. Like, that's completely absurd. I don't even entertain that thought because it's not relevant to my life.
There you go, come on, nice and close. But everyone just stands straight at me, yeah? And just American God.
I feel afraid of it. I feel afraid of being cured. To be clear, I would never say no. I'll be the first in line when it happens. If it happens, I shouldn't say when. And people ask me if I could go back and not be diagnosed, if I would do it. And I think the answer is yes, but it's hard to say yes to that question because I do think it's given me a lot. It forced me to grow up in really useful ways when I was very young. I had to become very independent and very self-aware. And being so aware of myself constantly all the time, I think has let me lead a really productive lifestyle. So I'm thankful for it in that way. Not that it's made me a warrior or a hero, because I'm not, but that it's made me have this acute self-awareness and independence. We know ourselves better than anyone else could ever know us, better than any husband or wife or parent could ever know you. No matter how intimately you know someone, no one knows you as well as you know yourself. But at the end of the day, people know how to keep themselves alive. Humans are really good at surviving. And you still keep yourself alive. People keep themselves alive from the moment we leave the womb, that humans have this innate instinct to protect themselves. I don't know. If I can make an external pancreas work and keep my body alive, then I can handle most stuff, I think.